Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Alya Nurul Dwianta and I'm from English Education Class B 2019. Now I will explain you a little bit about my resume on book chapter 3, The Present and Informed Approach. The interaction between your approach and your classroom practice is the key to dynamic teaching. The best teachers always take a few calculated risks in the classroom, trying new activities here and there. The inspiration for such innovation comes from the approach level, but the feedback that these teachers gather from actual implementation then informs their overall understanding of what learning and teaching is, which in turn may give rise to a new insight and more innovative possibilities, and the cycle continues. Look at the following selected list of potential choice you have designing a lesson. On the basis of what you know so far about second language acquisition and the pedagogical process, think about which side of a continuum of possibilities you would generally learn toward. B. Why you would learn the way, and most important, C. What contextual variable might influence a change away from your general inclination? Reason for variation at the approach level. A. An approach is by definition dynamic and therefore subject to some tinkering as a result of one's observation and experience. And B. Research in second language acquisition and pedagogy almost always yields findings that are not conclusive but are subject to interpretation. Communicative language teaching. Is there a currently recognized approach that is a generally accepted norm in the field? The answer is a qualified yes. That qualified yes can be captured in the term communicative language teaching, or CIT, and the qualification to that answer lies in the numerous possible ways of defining CLT and a plethora of interpretation and classroom application. I offer the following 6 interconnected characteristics as a description of CLT. 1. Classroom goals are focused on all of the components: grammatical, discourse, functional, sociolinguistic, and strategic of communicative competence. 2. Language techniques are designed to engage learner in the pragmatic, authentic, functional use of language for meaningful purposes. 3. Fluency and accuracy are seen as complementary principles underlying communicative techniques. 4. Students in a communicative class ultimately have to use the language productively and receptively in unrehearsed context outside the classroom. 5. Students are given opportunities to focus on their own learning process through an understanding of their own styles of learning and through the development of appropriate strategies of autonomous learning. And 6. The role of the teacher is that of facilitator and guide, not an all-knowing bestower of knowledge. Learner-centered instruction. The term applies to curricula as well as to specific techniques. It can be contrasted with teacher-centered and has received various recent interpretations. Learner-centered instruction include techniques that focus on or account for learners' needs, styles, and goals. Techniques that give some control to the student, group or work or strategy training, for example. Cooperative and collaborative learning. A curriculum or classroom that is cooperative and therefore not competitive usually involves the above learner-centered characteristics. As students work together in pairs and groups, they share information and come to each other's aid. They are a team whose players must work together in order to achieve goals successfully. Research has shown an advantage for cooperative learning as opposed to individual learning on such factors as promoting intrinsic motivation. interactive learning. An interactive course or technique will provide for such negotiation. Interactive classes will most likely be found 1. Doing a significant amount of pair work and group work. 2. Receiving authentic language input in real-world count. 3. Producing language for genuine, meaningful communication. 4. Performing classroom tasks that prepare them for actual language use out there. 5. Practicing oral communication through the give and take and spontaneity of actual conversation. 6. Writing to and for real audience, not contrived ones. Whole language education. Whole language is a label that has been used to describe 1. Cooperative learning. 2. Participatory learning. 3. Student-centered learning. 4. Focus on the community of learners. 5. Focus on the social nature of language. 6. Use of authentic natural language, meaning-centered language. 7. Holistic assessment techniques in testing integration of the 4 skills. Content-based instruction. Content-based instruction, or CBI, according to Brinton, Snow, and West J. at 1989, is the integration of content learning with language teaching aims. More specifically, it refers to the concurrent study of language and subject matter, with the form and sequence of language presentation dictated by content material. Task by instruction. Task-based instruction is a perspective within a CLT framework that forces you to carefully consider all the techniques that you use in the classroom in terms of a number of important pedagogical purposes. Do they ultimately point learners beyond the form of language alone to real-world context? Do they specifically contribute to communicative goals? Are they elements carefully designed and not simply haphazardly or idiosyncratically thrown together? Are they objective, well specified, so that you can at some later point accurately determine the success of one technique over another? Or do they engage learner in some form of genuine problem-solving activity? So that's all. Sorry for if I had some mistaken words. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.